Terry Bisbee,
Here.
Rod Calhoun,
Here.
Marla Erickson,
Here.
David Marshall,
Here.
Todd Miller,
Here.
Mo Penny, Bob Snyder.
Here. Next item is the approval of the agenda. You have, I'll have a copy of that.
Before you approve it. We don't need the alcohol.
I haven't heard for,
Let's go ahead and pass it.
Okay.
That way, if we don't need it, if we don't need it, we just want to use it.
okay. Because I haven't heard otherwise.
Approve the agenda as written.
Okay, we'll approve the agenda as written. There's some question on D under new business, but we'll go ahead and pass that. If you decide to, I'll take the motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented. I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. Approval of the minutes from the last meeting. You have a copy of those on your board doc. Any questions? If you don't have any questions, I would take a motion to approve that.
Right.
I move to approve the minutes from the October 8th, 2020 regular meeting as presented. I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. Approval of the college fields. Any of those particular fields that you will have a question about before we have a motion?
I just had a question about our COVID expenses. Tell me, do we have that money already, or are we reimbursed for those expenses?
Yes. I'm not being a smart aleck, but, so some of it, Terry, some of it we've already received. Some of it we are reimbursed. Julie is actually the expert on this, so I'm going to defer to her. But there's $1.2 million essentially that we've already gotten passed through to students. There's another $1.2 million that we're going to be drawing down as we spend it. There's about 114,000 we can draw down and spend more liberally. We don't have quite as many restrictions. And then the Spark 1, Spark 2 are reimbursement models. But I'm gonna ask Julie to fill in the blanks there. So Julie, if you would talk a little bit about the COVID expense reimbursement money.
Yeah, so the money that we are receiving from the CARES Act come in two separate sections of the law. So the higher education relief fund money, that we draw down on a reimbursement basis, and we can only draw it down. As Carter said, we got approximately $2.2 million. 1.1 million of it is supposed to go directly to the students. When we give that money out, and we have given out almost all of it, I think we have about maybe $24,000 left. Once we've distributed that, then we can spend the other half and draw it down. The other two pots of money come from Spark, and that comes from the public, which is an acronym that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it comes from the public law section of the act. And those expenditures are a little bit different. They have different rules. And KBOR actually gave us the money. We already have it. And then, so we're just spending it down. With the county is asking that we submit reports to them monthly, and then they reimburse us.
And both KBOR money's coming through KBOR and the county money have extensive reporting requirements. There's, it's very, the work that Julie and her staff and everybody who's using this money is having to do. We're having to keep very, very detailed records and be able to prove that there's some link between COVID-19 and this expenditure of money.
Julie, on that same topic, is there a time limit or a timeline on this money?
The money given to us under the public law section, so the Spark, the money that we draw down from the county or we are reimbursed from the county, and the money that we received from KBOR must be spent. And if you're buying something like a piece of equipment, or if you're buying a software or something like that, whatever you're spending the money on has to be implemented, received and implemented by December 30th of this year.
And you'll see that on one of the purchases that we're asking the board to approve.
The other portion, we have a year from the date that we were awarded the money, and I believe that was back in April, might have been May.
And I was certain that the money that we received from the county, that they had to approve those expenditures and reimburse us. But I wasn't clear on the other sources, whether or not somebody else had to approve it before we actually got the money.
No, we just have to show that there's a direct nexus between what we're buying and COVID.
Thanks, Julie.
Any other board questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the college bills.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the warrant and invoice list for college bills in the amount of $4,121,069.37 as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. We already had discussion, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Consent agenda. A, personnel, B, bids, C, surplus property. Any questions on any of those that you want to ask before we maybe take all three? Hearing that, I'll accept the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda, A, personnel, B, bids, C, surplus as presented.
I'll second. Did I hear a second? Okay, been moved to second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Public comment. Anybody in the audience or on Zoom have a comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to strategic planning. Tricia?
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for letting me join you through Zoom tonight. Our project updates for the September-October months. First project is the Blue Dragon. This is the project that kind of helps us to track students from their recruitment through their completion of degree. And so right now they are working on finding what's called a customer relations management system, or CRM, that allows them to track all communications with students, whether it be by phone, text, HCC email, or what we call Dragon Zone email, personal email, etc. Any kind of communication can be tracked through the CRM. And they did their last demo with the last company that they're looking at on October 30th. And so now they're just kind of trying to decide which company to go with. That group is also preparing a report right now on advisor load, looking at determining the ratio of advisees to advisors on campus. Next project is career services. And here, this project, as a reminder, is just kind of investigating, is there a need? What kind of service would we be looking at? Just looking at feasibility primarily. And so they're just starting the 7-step problem solving process and are looking into the needs that the college would have from the perspective of alumni, employees, and employers. So they've collected a lot of feedback and are now kind of putting all of that feedback into themes, categorizing them into themes. Then our next project is ebooks, and the service provider that has been selected is Red Shelf, and that contract has been signed. And Red Shelf has provided some kind of training and demos for the bookstore from kind of the bookstore management side, and has also more recently provided some instructor student side training as well, to give us a feel for what that service is going to be providing for college. And then the last project, we had originally called, I swore I wasn't going to say this title again, but I guess this is the last time I am truly going to say it. But we called it the PX Registration Core Module Replacement Project, which has been dubbed Blue Roster. And because part of this process is looking at creating schedules and in our system, and part of that is rosters. So Blue Roster. The team met in September to go over the first goal, which was designing a new process for course creation. And just to give you a little bit of insight, course creation means the process that we use to create classes and create our course schedule. And so it includes the instructor, the textbooks that we're using, the classrooms, the class size, the maximum limit, whether it's an online or a face-to-face or a hybrid or a high school or any combination thereof, et cetera, right? All the details that go into a course are part of this course creation process. So the team has been working on kind of identifying what we call user stories to help get a better picture of what types of features we would like that new system to have. And let me be clear, we have a system now that has worked well for us in the past, and now it's time to upgrade, right? Time to make some improvements and really bring us into new century, if you want to even call it that, because it's kind of slow and has its issues. So we've identified some of those issues and root causes of those issues, and then put together 116 user stories to help paint a picture of what that system could look like as it's being built. So ITS can then jump on certain projects that, or certain aspects that can be addressed quickly. Some of those can be addressed like really fast. Others are going to take more time. So they can kind of prioritize those different features that they'll be working on. And that is it for project updates. Our next meeting is November 18th, so it's coming up soon. Do you have any questions?
Any board have questions, or Marla?
No, it's always just very impressive what they're working on for the college. It's wonderful.
There's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Tricia.
Thank you,
Thank you all.
Tricia.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Next is grant reports, Janet.
Which one do I put? Okay.
No.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me through the mask? Okay. Yeah. I'll just stand really close to it. So good evening. It's good to be back here. I don't think I've been here for about a year. So I just wanted to give you an update. Actually, Dr. Haas asked me to come give you an update on where we are with grants. And we've been really blessed. We've received several grants, running the whole gamut from national grants to local, to state grants. And I think in your board docs, you have a printout that has a list, but I'm not going to read every one of them, but just kind of wanted to highlight a few of them. We received an apprenticeship grant. That's that first one there. And that allowed us to hire a apprentice coordinator who has really kind of upped our apprenticeship program. And we've got several apprenticeships in the works. And then the next one I wanted to talk about a little bit too, that is a virtual reality grant to allow us to do some training via virtual reality. And we actually are working with Wyoming to develop some training modules. Almost completed that grant. And then moving on down the list, these are all ones we've received. We received some scholarships from Gene Haas Foundation to do from CNC machining. And then we received some non-traditional marketing money from the state. We marketed our manufacturing programs to female students, and we actually saw more female students and more students overall. So that was a successful grant. We're just waiting to do the final closeout on that. And then the Perkins Reserve Grant received funding to put cybersecurity and some of our CAD classes online. The Susan Harwood Targeted Topics is a pretty exciting one. That's a grant to hire a person and do training for COVID-19. And that'll be actually free training to businesses in the area. Small businesses. So if you know of anyone who would like to have COVID training, you can talk to Steve and Dave, and they can set you up with that. And we've closed out several grants. See them there. And then we have some that we're waiting to hear about on the second page. The Brookwood Sago Part 2, we did not receive that. I just found out that today. But we have some grants for the orchestra that we're hoping we'll get, or not for the orchestra, for the theater. And the Strengthening Community College Training Grant, that's a large one. It's a consortium with Wichita Tech. And we would be doing boot camps and kind of a workshop model to attract students to our manufacturing programs if we get that one. And that's about it. We're working on a couple more right now. One is the last one on the list there is to develop to purchase a CDL training simulator, a commercial truck driving simulator. So that's really all I have. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
And it may be a year since you were here last, but obviously you've been busy. And very successful. Can't thank you enough for going out and seeking this funding. It kind of helps in areas where it might be hard to allocate budget funding to support. Allows us to do some things that we might not do in terms of filling some positions to help us out in certain areas. And for example, the equipment of the cafeteria, that was a great grant that we got there.
I skipped over that one, the biggest one. Sorry.
I just want to say thank you.
Sure.
Keep up the good work. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and I also want to second that. You're doing a great job, and we appreciate it. Marla, can you hear all this okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, dining room project, Julie?
So this is my last report on the dining room project because I can actually say that I think we're winding it up. I have not been to campus all this week, so I'm only going to tell you what either somebody has been gracious enough to send me pictures of, or I saw myself last Friday. So there actually might be more done than what I'm about to report, but I'll tell you what I know. Upstairs, of course, the dining room is fully functional, and we are serving food and serving the public, serving students. There are 2 projects that will be done over Thanksgiving break when the students go home, and that will be the ceiling of the dining area where the seating is, the booths and the tables and chairs. That ceiling still needs to be painted, and we're going to paint that after the students go home. And then also there is the well, I said 2 projects. When we paint the ceiling, we'll also, I don't know if you've noticed, but the lighting that hangs down from there, when we replaced the old lighting, there was a lot of holes that were made in the ceiling. So some of that will be cleaned up, and we'll kind of finish that out so that looks nicer as that hangs from the ceiling. So that will be done. And then there will be windows, the top windows on the east side of the building are also scheduled to be replaced. Those were part of the original project, and they just simply haven't been done in the project. So that won't be an additional cost to us. It's just something that still needs to be done for the project. The grab and go has not yet opened. That is no fault of the dining service. They are just chomping at the bit, ready to go. They've got their equipment ready. What they're waiting on is the countertops that we have installed in there need some holes drilled. Those are granite countertops, and so we can't just, have somebody come and pull out their Black & Decker drill and drill a hole. We're waiting for the contractor to come back and actually drill those holes. There's a couple of holes that also need to be drilled in the serving line. That's part of the project. So we're kind of waiting until they can come back and take care of all of that. As soon as they do that, then Great Western Dining is more than ready to start plugging in their equipment, and hopefully the grab and go will be open very soon. Downstairs, the departments have started to move in. IT has moved into their offices. I know that last time I was down, or the last report that I heard for the esports room is that they've loaded the software, or they are loading the software on the machines. The machines are all installed. The furniture is all installed. Students have been given the students that are the esports students have been given proxy access to that room. Their coach has been given access to that room. So hopefully they'll be in it soon, at least before Thanksgiving break. We'd like them to sit down and kind of try it out for a little bit. Some of the I shouldn't say gaming equipment. Some of the equipment like the ping pong tables have already been installed downstairs. There's also a foosball table and pool tables that are supposed to go down. Those aren't there yet, but they're ordered. Student services is down in there in the basement already. And I noticed that some of the signage has gone up on the outside of the building. So we've updated the Jack and Richard Parker Student Union signage. And a lot of the graphics are done in both upstairs and the downstairs, but not all of them. And that is all I have for an update, but I will take any questions on any part of the project.
Apparently the problem in the basement with the water issue wasn't maybe not as extensive as you thought it might be.
Well, it was a pretty big cleanup project, but because we got on it right away, and we brought out Phoenix Restoration as soon as we saw the water filling up in the basement, it cleaned up pretty quickly. It was an extensive project. We did have to replace some drywall and some baseboard trim, and there was a lot of carpet cleaning and water extraction, but I think we got it. It's cleaned up, and we've got the departments moved in.
Okay.
Other questions for Julie?
How soon do the fences come down?
The
fence around on the parking
that's
lot.
a good question. I was told that the handicap ramp was removed today, and that the fence was brought in closer so that the ramp could be moved down and students could start using the new entrance that has the ramp to it. I think that there's still parking lot striping that needs to be done, and then the fence will be moved completely. I'm not positive of that.
They did the striping up next to the building, so they just have the other side to do. If I was a gambling man, I'd say either this weekend or early next week. But I'm sure Harmon Hutton will tell us 2 weeks.
Can the semis get in, back in to get in there to the docks now?
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions? Thank you, Julie. Course fee revision, Cindy?
You need me to come down, it's a quick.
You can, I think they can hear you.
The biology lab has an online service called LabStar, and so they're increasing the fees $10. So you have to get it.
Can you hear Cindy?
Can,
Okay.
So LabStar is the online biology lab fee that we use for our online service, and they're increasing $10. So if you pass it now, it will apply in January. So that's what we're doing. I don't know about the other
The
one.
ITV, Julie, the ITV. Julie will do the ITV removal. Julie will do the other.
The ITV fee removal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Julie, can you do the ITV removal?
Yeah.
ITV fee removal, please.
Yeah, do you want me to speak to that now? Are you ready for that? So when we originally brought all of the fees to the board, when we did the big change for the change in the Kansas law, we had a course fee on there. Originally, we had a course fee on there called telecourse fee. Well, we haven't had telecourses for years and years and years. And what we intended to do when we brought the fee spreadsheet to the board was just to take the telecourse fee off. What we did instead was we erroneously renamed it an ITV course fee. There was some confusion between what an ITV fee was, what a telecourse fee was, what a merged course fee was. And instead of just removing the fee, it was accidentally renamed. There is no ITV course fee. We haven't charged one in the past. We don't want to charge one. So we're just asking that the board please allow us to remove that from the spreadsheet.
Does the board have any questions for Cindy or Julie? Not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the course fee revisions.
I move to approve the course fee revisions as presented.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. 2020-11-12 resolution approving tower lease. Ken or Julie or both, or start with you, Ken.
Oh, I can probably grab this pretty quickly. We have been approached through the years by different entities that are looking to use tower space for various things, but primarily this rural internet essentially. And Idea Tech, I trust, had some grant money that they were able to use to expand their over-the-air rural internet service, and they needed tower space. And they came and chatted with us, and we have now finalized an agreement that is based very closely on agreements already in place with tower renters, tower leases in the north central part of the state. And so it's essentially language that the board is comfortable with and already approved, and we've been conducting business on under for 25 years. The one maybe interesting thing about this project, they hope to be at 400 feet, and for the class of antenna that they use, it's a fairly insubstantial sort of structure, mechanical body of antennas. And so it doesn't actually warrant a very high rental price. In fact, the rental price was so low that we actually saw a better opportunity in using the presence of fiber that they will need to bring to the tower if they choose our tower. They'll string 3 miles worth of internet fiber, not just fiber class internet, but actual fiber. And we've arranged to trade with them for the dollar per foot at 400 feet, with the arrangements to be regularly confirmed to still be an equitable trade arrangement, so they can be reported to the feds for the traditional matching money available for such arrangements.
Ken, I think I know the answer to this, but putting other things on the tower will never conflict with the signal of radio canvas.
Oh, studies have to be done. Knowledgeable people have to take a look at things. Our radio Kansas signal is an analog signal, and it goes out a great distance. But the fact that it's analog to an analog receiver, digital, and Glenn maybe could speak to this better than I am. It's just not even there. It's rejected as part of the normal reception process. So probably for the foreseeable future, everything that might get added to that tower will be a digital transceiver and really have no potential to conflict with our FM.
Ken, where is this tower located?
This is, if you're familiar, well, if you go out 4th Street to the east, and the KWCH tower is the tallest of the 3 nested together there. KPTS is the first one you encounter on your right as you're driving east. And the KWCH tower is to the left. And we are about 1.5 miles further east of the KWCH tower, which we, of course, explain as 1.5 miles closer to Wichita than even KWCH is. But that's for our broadcast purposes. I think the important part about this is it's in a strategic part of Reno County for Idea Tech to reach 180 potential households that they wouldn't be able to reach from the other towers available to them.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ken or Julie? If not, I'll accept the motion to approve the lease.
I move to approve resolution 2020-1112, authorizing the execution and delivery of a certain broadcast tower space lease agreement between the college and Idea Tech Telecom LLC as presented.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. Any more discussion?
Thank you.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next item under new business is C, Waldo Auditorium AV equipment. Julie?
Typically, we put bids in with the consent agenda, and then if the board wishes to pull one of them out, they can do so at any time before the consent agenda is approved. But this time, I spoke to Dr. File and asked that we make sure that this particular purchase was put in some place where it wouldn't be just thrown in with the consent agenda. The reason for that is the purchase price, which is $93,150. And additionally, the reason for that is because we are not going out for bid on this project. This is to upgrade, maybe I shouldn't say upgrade, we don't have anything. This is to install multimedia equipment in the Waldo Auditorium. That is one of the larger rooms that we are using for classroom space because of COVID and social distancing requirements. Because of that, we've been given Spark money from Reno County, or Reno County is the pass through to us. So this is federal grant money. This is one of those pots of money that need to be spent by December 30th. And because of our time constraints, we would like to use state contract pricing, which falls within our board purchasing policy, and not go out for bid. But because it's $93,150, I thought that the board should be made aware of it and approve it on its own. And I'll take any questions on this.
Question for Julie? It sounds like a really good update for Waldo Auditorium. I'll accept the motion to approve this.
I move to approve RFP number 21-010 as presented.
Second.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Not all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carried. Next item is the request to serve alcohol on campus, and like always, I ask the question.
Can't.
What?
Well, hold on a second. It has been canceled.
That's what the email that we received.
This has been canceled, so we do not.
Okay.
The board does not need to act on this. They choose not.
Next item is public comment. Anybody have a public comment either on Zoom or in person?
I would like to say how much I appreciate you improving Waldo, because that room is very hard to hear. And so the faculty will be so appreciative. And everybody's going to want to use that room once we get this equipment in there. So this is a fabulous upgrade. I mean, you just can't know how much more user-friendly that room's going to be.
I think part of this, Julie, does include some noise,
Yes,
some noise panels and stuff.
Yeah.
It does.
Everybody's going to want that room.
It's going to be state of the art.
Yeah, it's a
Really will
good,
be.
it's a good change. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple things. I wanted to recognize Radio Kansas fundraising efforts. Ken, it sounds like you had a successful fundraising campaign, even in these trying times. Did you want to say anything about that?
Actually, what you said there kind of sums it up. We closed with over $312,000 raised in total for the season out of a budgetary goal of 330. But we actually are closer than it seems, because we normally leave something of a balance on the table to give us a total to seek in the mail and other media after the drive itself. So just an extraordinary effort. I think you can recognize that with all that's been going on and continues to go on, people are turning to reliable news sources, and we're thankful that a few Kansans are recognizing it not only as something worth their time, but worth their financial investment. And we will come out of these COVID/election/whatever else times without a significant deficit to address.
I just want to say congratulations on your fundraising efforts, and I think you provide a worthy service to the community, and sounds like we're in good shape, at least for this next year, to continue.
Yeah, well, there's probably nothing to address, but who knows what 2021 holds.
Thank you, Ken. I also wanted to acknowledge that Robin sent out the final report from the Higher Learning Commission, which, as usual, was stimulating reading. The cover letter, which I was able to read without too much difficulty, I think speaks well for everybody involved in the keeping up with our reporting to the Higher Learning Commission. And we successfully completed our year 4 assurance review with no recommended monitoring. So that says to me that we're doing a good job all the way around, and they're going to let us continue without getting in the way. So I just wanted to say thanks and good work to everybody who participates in that. I know it's quite a group of people that do.
Thank you, Jerry, for those 2 comments. Any others? If not, we'll move to executive session. I'll take a motion to go into executive session first for negotiations.
Mr. Chair, can I ask on the first one, can we have 15 minutes? Because I've got to get the computer started over there and get the Zoom session started. And that may take 4 or 5 minutes. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board recess for a closed executive session in STC room 205 to discuss possible acquisition of real property. Right one. Sorry. I'll start over again. I move that the board recess for a closed executive session in STC room 205 pursuant to the exception provided by the Kansas Open Meetings Act to discuss employee negotiations, and that President File and Vice President Julie Blanton be included in the executive session to advise the board. The open meeting of the board will resume in the Justice Theater of the Shears Technology Center at 7:58. Let's make it 7:58 p.m. And no binding action shall be taken by the board during such executive session.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Julie and Marla, you give me just a few minutes before you try to get in, and I'll get.
Okay.
I'll get the
Okay.
Zoom session started over there.
We're in executive session.
All right.